Hi peeps. So one of you recently asked me if I would demonstrate how I am able to clarify so quickly with an oracle and a tarot deck when I am pulling for a specific question or doing a reading. So that is what we are going to be doing today. It is Friday, May 13th. Happy Friday, May 13th to you while I'm recording this. We got a lot of Friday the 13th. So I'm going to be using OG Rider-Waite-Smith, and I'm also going to be using the Magic of You Oracle to clarify. I wanted to pick an oracle deck that gives you a little bit of information. So if you're just starting to clarify with oracle decks, you can understand how you could very quickly get the clarity you need, for lack of a better word on my part there. I don't mean to keep using clarify over and over again, but so when you're approaching this and you're just starting, what you want to be aware of is you want an oracle, you probably want an oracle deck, I should say, that you either really powerfully connect with the artwork in the deck itself so that you don't even need any keywords, or you want to have an oracle deck kind of similar to this, which has a key phrase, and it also has a title and a key phrase on the image. The key phrase is going to give you a jumping off point for what the card itself means. And then the title is also giving you a jumping off point. And in addition to that, you have the artwork. With an oracle deck, you really want to be focused on intuitively what comes up for you when you pull. So it is about understanding the meaning of the card, but it's also about really trusting your intuition. Okay, especially with oracle, this becomes really important. And you're going to marry that to your tarot deck and what comes through in your tarot deck. So let's say that, so I'm going to give you a couple demonstrations here so you can watch me do it, and then you can practice on your own so that you can feel more comfortable with it. So let's say I have a card I'm looking at. This can be a card in a spread, or it could be a single draw. Okay, so in this situation, I have the Hierophant. Let's say that I wanted information on my career and I have the Hierophant showing up. And let's say that I didn't understand completely what the Hierophant was representing here. So I've inquired about my career and the Hierophant has showed up, and I don't understand. So what I would do, and this is the first thing that I always do, and it's important, guys, I ask out loud, clarify the Hierophant here for me. Clarify the Hierophant here. I shuffle until it feels appropriate to stop. And then I have Arenda, honor your mystical creative force. So in this situation, I would say that the call is to move in a direction that is not about a societal idea of stability and security, but instead to allow my intuition to guide me in the choices that I make career-wise right now. So you could say, how did I get there? So the first thing is, I know that the Hierophant represents kind of like societal structure, the ways in which we create security for ourselves from a societally, excuse me, Mercury is in retrograde, guys, bear with me, a societally acceptable standpoint, right? And there's also this idea of rules, of structure, of law, and of working within an organized system that comes up with the Hierophant. Now, the juxtaposition of this is when we follow the Hierophant from the standpoint of assuming responsibility for ourselves, especially when it comes to our own spiritual paths, right? So we know that we're looking at either a further move into something that's organized and that could feel protective and safe, but stifling for us, or a call to go off the beaten path and to follow our own soul's yearning, right? Knowing that we're assuming personal responsibility for that work. Now, the clarifier lets me know that it's about moving into the latter, not working with the former. So you might say to me, well, how did you get there, Racine? Well, number one, my key phrase is honor your mystical creative force, which means trusting the intuition, right? It means it's not about an established rule book and following that. Instead, it's about following the voice within and really, really trusting that. Another thing you could pay attention to here is your artwork. We have the snake, we've got the moon. It's a very intuitive energy of the sacred feminine here. There's a real powerful draw to be working with that third eye that you see in the, I'm just trying to get the glare off there, guys, sorry, off of the imagery. And we've got that beautiful deep red tone as well, right? Also the orchid in the image, another representation of the sacred feminine. So we're looking at all of these layers and we're trusting the intuition, which to me brings us back to the Hierophant in regards to career here is clarifying that it's about taking a step off of the well-trod path and following one's own path that's intuitively led here. So that might mean that I or the querent needs to take a leap of faith and start their own business, or work with a community or a group of people who are doing something in a bold new way, not in an established order system or form. So that's one example of how you can clarify. I'm going to give you another example. Let's say we're asking about a relationship. Let's say we want more insight into a relationship. Oh, guess I don't need to keep doing that, but you know, like when you start shuffling and then you have to finish. That's too many, guys. All right, I just want one card for this demonstration. So I'm asking about a relationship and I have the Tower in the center of the spread, let's say, and I don't understand. I understand what the Tower means, which is something falling apart, something coming to a head, but I don't understand where that's going to play out. So let's say that I want clarity on that. And I turn to my Oracle deck and the question that I want to ask out loud is, can I have clarity on what's breaking down in the partnership? Okay. So detox, cleanse, and restore yourself is the card that's pulled here. So the first thing I would say is we might be looking at a union that involves a marriage or a long-term partnership or commitment. I say this just because the image of the female in the card, you know, she's got a lot of white going on here. I feel like I'm seeing this veil and there's definitely a pause. So I would say that where we're seeing this kind of falling apart aspect is in relation to this long-term relationship, that it may be that it's important for the couple to actually take a break, to take some physical space from each other, to get some clarity for themselves about what each of them need individually, and then together as a couple as well. So if I had drawn this and this was my clarifying card, I would be recommending to the client, or I would be understanding for myself, that there's some form of a break that needs to happen here. There needs to be a pause for this couple so that they can get clarity on what each of them want and what they want to continue to create together or not. Let's say that you wanted to ask, well, how long is this break going to be? How long of a break are we looking at then? So then we have Buho here, which is saying transform the way you see. So you see that we've got these moth wings over the eyes, more white again. So when I'm looking to divine a timeline and I've asked for clarity, I'm paying attention here to what I'm seeing in the image. What does it feel like? This feels like spring to me. I know it's spring now. And so looking at this, what I would offer is that the couple may need a small amount of time. Maybe it's just a week or two, perhaps 3, for them to give each other some healthy space and be able to get clarity by looking within instead of focusing the view on blaming the other person. So that's how you can offer further clarity here off of that Tower card in your draw. And you notice that what I'm paying attention to is the key phrases, the key words, the card title, and the imagery, and how it marries with my tarot deck. I'm going to give you one more example in this video, guys. So Let's say I want some insight into my spiritual journey. And I have the Ace of Cups. So I can see I have a new beginning in regards to emotions, in regards to the experience of union within my spiritual path. There's a call to open to love. But let's say I'm not sure about where in my spiritual journey this is going to play out. So I'm going to shuffle again and ask, where in my spiritual journey will this Ace of Cups energy be experienced? Wow, this is very clear. Phenomenon, be still and listen to the spirits. So very clear that I'm meant to be dialoguing and in communication and connection, partnership, relationship with other spiritual and energies, entities. There's some work to be done, quite possibly with spirit guides, with some loved ones who may have passed over. There's dialogue for me to have with other energies in order to understand how I can open up to love. And of course, I mean love in the broadest sense here on my spiritual journey. So it's actually about communicating with guides. It's actually about speaking with deity. It's actually about communicating with those who've passed and listening, you know, serving as the channel for that. That's what's going to help me to open up to this Ace of Cups energy. That's what's going to help me to experience love and emotion and a depth of feeling in a healthy way that allows for evolution as a soul. So you see how that was like, boom, because this is a very easy, you know, this is super clear, especially in regards to what we asked for. So this is how I get right into the clarity. The other thing is, even if I'm not talking out loud for this part and I'm working with a client or I'm working with myself, I don't spend a lot of time sitting and thinking about it. I find the longer I think, the more I get into my mind and less into my intuition. If I go with that first hit and I just step into the flow and let it roll, it's much more effective for my clients and it's much more accurate for my clients as well as for myself. So don't overthink it. Go with the gut. Go with that first thing. And the other thing I would say to you is say it out loud, especially when you're starting to do this work. It's going to help you clarify what's your voice and what's fear or doubt. And it's also going to help you be able to tap into it sooner because you're much clearer about when it's that voice. So I hope if you are working on clarifying with oracle cards and feeling a little stuck, you find this video helpful. As always, it is an honor and a privilege to connect with you. And I am sending you all much love and many blessings. Take care.